Welcome into the Jets Afterburners podcast. This is our second impromptu show in 2 days. Well, really 1 day actually. I mean, I was going to do one Sunday night. It just didn't work out, but we are here, Dan. We are here. We had some big news. As reported earlier, the New York Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh. This is something that we had spoken about less than 24 hours ago. And listen, like myself, you were saying it, the chat was saying it, all the callers were saying it. This is the move that had to be made. And I don't ever want to see anybody lose their job, whether it's a professional athlete, whether it's a coach, or whether it's just an average guy like you and me. You know, you don't ever want to see somebody get fired, but this is the right move at the right time. What are you thinking about this?
Well, I had no idea what was going on until you texted me earlier today. I look at it, I'm like, oh, this must be like a joke, but I know you don't joke around about this stuff. And as soon as I saw the statement from Woody Johnson confirming it, that he let him go, it shows me that Woody Johnson is not messing around. Like I alluded to it yesterday, where we had, different people saying, oh, there's no way that he's going to do it because that's not him. He doesn't do that. But again, when you have a business and you invest so much and you're not getting what you put in, you have to change something up. And that's exactly what Woody Johnson did. So he knows he has Aaron Rodgers. He moved heaven and hell to get him, and he got him. Hackett, he kind of went probably against his own will. He probably knew that that was not a good move, but it was the only way to lure him in. So he bent backwards in order to get this done. And then the Saleh factor. You got 4 years worth of slogans of not holding players accountable. Year in, year out. Year in, first it's the quarterback. We don't have the quarterback. We have a good defense. And every year the defense was getting better. And we're like, oh, you know what? That's Saleh. That's Saleh. And lo and behold, it's not him. It's Jeff Ulbrich. And you could see that Ulbrich brings a different kind of dimension to this team. And yes, accountability is one. And he's wet behind the ears too with this whole news. When he went up there, it was like four hours into it. And he's, I'm going to bring up some sound bites right now. And I think he's the right guy for right now because we have no other choice. Who else were we going to put in there?
I mean, I think the biggest fear was Hackett. The biggest thing, anytime that we had mentioned the possibility of moving on from Robert Saleh, everyone was saying, well, they better not promote Hackett.
Right.
And now there's been reports that Robert Saleh was going to try to have Hackett fired today. There's been some crazy reports. I don't think that Robert Saleh was taken out by security. But yeah, from what I know, at least like what's being reported, he walked in like business as usual. And
Right.
I think he was completely blindsided by this as well. And now there was a report I heard on WFAN today with Evan and Tiki, two of our favorites, especially Tiki.
Oh, he loves us.
Yeah. That apparently Woody Johnson and Aaron Rodgers had a phone call last night. And they didn't get into the specifics or what were mentioned, but, Evan Roberts even said, I doubt they were talking about RFK endorsing Trump. Like they were talking business.
Right.
So you're telling me Robert Saleh didn't come up and then the next day, miraculously, he's fired?
It's gone.
And I think that Aaron Rodgers was getting really sick of Robert Saleh more than more than like what was led on. I mean, like it all started kind of it all started with this whole Egypt thing. That's where I think all of this really stemmed from.
Yep.
Just Robert Saleh just really forcing home the point that this is an unexcused absence.
Find
Which
them.
at the time I didn't see too much wrong with. I was like, whatever, like yeah, like it has to be uh like unexcused. And then you get into the whole shoving thing, you get into Robert Saleh just trying to hug him, and then you get into the whole accountability thing and the cadence. And it just got to the point where I think Aaron Rodgers liked and believed, quote, past tense, in Robert
Right.
Saleh, especially like when they had that joint practice when Rodgers was still with Green Bay. I believe it was his rookie year. And then when the
Saleh's rookie
Jets,
year. Yep.
yeah, Saleh's rookie year, yeah. And then when they beat him in Green Bay in 2022. I think Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers had a good relationship at one point, especially like when Rodgers was first getting in. And then I think it just got to the point where Aaron Rodgers saw the daily operations of Robert Saleh and said, "This is
Mhm.
not our guy, and we have to do something about this because you guys went all out to get me. I'm not playing my best," which you can't blame all of that on Robert Saleh. That's the
Right.
thing. I think this goes deeper than just Saleh, but
Mhm.
it was so easy to fire Saleh because Dan, how many times have I asked you this question? I've put it on Twitter. I've said it here. I've said it in videos. I've said it on other channels. What does Robert Saleh do? I have said this. I have beaten this like a dead horse. What does Robert Saleh do? I don't know what he does. You know what he is? He is the most expensive cheerleader on that payroll.
Mhm.
That's what he is.
Yep.
I don't know what he does as a coach. I don't know.
Well, you're probably going to see him now in less than probably 3 weeks. He's going to be either with the Dolphins, the Niners, or what's the other team that, or Green Bay. Because again, this is the problem with being buddy buddy in this cutthroat business of the NFL. You can't have those kind of relationships. There has to be some sort of thin ice and hardcore relationships, but you can't be too friendly because this is exactly what happens. Now, I'm going to shift over a little bit to Woody. What Woody did today, we were expecting him to do in the event we would have gone to 2-4. This was a blindside move from every aspect that you look at it. You want to go into the conspiracy theories. You want to look into that yesterday that Saleh wanted to pull the plug on Hackett, whatever the case is. I look at it as we are at a crossroads. This is where the season can be saved, not salvaged because it's broken, right? That it's not broken yet. We're at 2-3. First place is on the line right now, Monday night. Woody said it. He did this move to create a spark. And this is an enormous ignite to the entire organization. And I do want to bring something up with what Ulbrich said here. Let me just bring this up. And it's very interesting because they asked him, all right, what about your the offense coordinator? He's like, look, there's going to be no movements there with the coordinators, but the roles may be different. And this is what he said. This is a big one here. There we go. You see it, right?
Yes.
All right. And
I think everything is on the table right now. So I'm going to take a hard look at that. And can I manage a game day as a head coach and play or call the plays on defense? So everything's on the table right now. It is.
So what does that make you kind of quandar, right? Like everything's on. Saleh never said that.
No.
Saleh never said, you know what? There's some issues here. Everything's going to be on the table. I got to give it a hard look. None of that. What would be his go-to? They're grown men. They're going to figure it out. Some players figured it out, like Quincy Williams after the game against Minnesota. Something's got to give here. This is not the way how this has to go. The talent that's on this team, guys. It's ridiculous. This is not being a homer. This is legit. I'm going to even bring a third-round rookie into the equation, Malachi Corley. Ever since Salah's been here. He always has like some rookie in the doghouse, right? Whether it's Elijah Moore, Mims. Why? Now, Corley hasn't even seen the field 3 plays. Put him in. He's part of this. He was the yak king. And I'm not talking about the animal yak. Yards after catch. Yes. That's what Saleh was all about. At this point, everything has to be assessed. And that gives me confidence with Ulbrich. Whether he'll do it or not, I want to get into a golden opportunity here. Normally, when you go for a head coaching position in the NFL, you have to go through the vetting process. You have to send your resume, to go through an interview. You're praying to God for them to call you back. Great. You show a good impression. He has showcased 4 years worth of defensive quality. And this is an opportunity where I remember a long time ago, someone had told me a smart man learns from his mistakes. An intelligent man learns from other people's mistakes. I'm hoping that Ulbrich understood why the decision was made today. And I hope he really seizes this opportunity and says, I can be a John Fox with Peyton Manning. I'm going to do everything I can to control my division here, my section of the team. And if the offense isn't looking good, I'm going to call timeout. I'm going to tell my offense coordinator, huddle your section together and raise up the volume here. Same thing with Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians was no slapdick type of coach. He was a straight up head coach that brought the Arizona Cardinals, again, a crap organization, to the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner. Change that face. When he had Tom Brady, he knew how to adjust. That team was 5-5 before they won the Super Bowl, and they went on a run. That's why I think Woody did the absolute best decision. Blew me out of the water. I thought he was going to do it next week. He did it today. And before I send it over to you, I think he will milk this. And I mean Woody Johnson, because he loves publicity. But he did it today because he wants to win a Super Bowl. But tomorrow is the Devontae trade. Now you have Tuesday, Wednesday, Jets. Thursday, it's going to be the introductory press conference. Another Jet day. Friday, it propels you to 3 days worth of anticipation leading up to yet another Jets day, which is sole possession of first place Monday Night Football against the Bills. You think?
Yeah, you really hit the nail right on the head. And it really does send a message that Woody Johnson's not screwing around, which you like to see. And he said something today that he was actually right. He said there's too much talent on this team. This isn't 2019, 2020. This isn't Sam Darnold running out with Chris Hogan, Vincent Jeff and Smith, and Brashad Perryman. This is a win now team with Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback. Now, has Aaron Rodgers been perfect? No, he hasn't. And see, it's easy to fire. Like I said, it's easy to fire Saleh because he does nothing. I still think that Nate Hackett, at least he has to get demoted at the very least. You could argue that he should have been fired. Right. And that's a very strong case that he should have been fired. But at the same time, it shows we're going right for the top. We're firing our head honcho. I don't care how nice of a guy he is.
Right.
He doesn't have this team prepared. How many times in a row can you come out uncoached, unprepared? You come out like zombies. How many times can you do that? It's week in and week out. You're constantly playing from behind. Yeah, you have a few nice wins. Yeah, you beat the Buffalo Bills a handful of times. You beat the Eagles, which you've never done in franchise history. You hung in there with the Chiefs. But how many of those games, honestly, it was sheer luck.
Right.
It wasn't that Robert Saleh never outcoached Sean McDermott. He never outcoached Nick Sirianni. And I'm not going to take those wins away because they were very important wins, and it's just so inconsistent because we'll have that beatdown like that Thursday night game against the Patriots, And how do you respond? How do you build off of that? Because that's a big thing. It's all building blocks.
Yep. Yep.
Every game is a building block. So how do you get better? How do you build off of that? How do you carry that momentum into the next week? You lose 10-9 to a rookie quarterback. And that's not to take anything away from Sean Payton. Great coach. And I think I think he has what it takes to turn that organization around, to bring that organization back to 2014, 2015, where they're playing at a very high standard. I'm not saying
Right.
Super Bowl just yet because it's a very young team, but I think he could have that team on track. I think that he has a very solid foundation over there.
Right.
And then how do you wipe off an ugly loss? Because that's a big part of being a head coach too. Hey, listen,
Right.
guys, put that one behind us. It's over. We should have never lost that game. Here's how we're going to be better. Here's our game plan moving forward to make sure that that doesn't happen again. You go out there on a primetime game, Sunday morning. And yes, those morning games, those international games are primetime. We're the only one on television at that point. You come out there, you're getting blown out almost 17-0. The amount of penalties that this team has had is insane. There's and it's not just us fans and in the media saying there's no accountability. Aaron Rodgers has said it. Quincy Williams has now said it. This is being said publicly on the Jets YouTube channel that there's no accountability.
Mhm.
This was the move that had to be made. And I'm glad that they made it before like they have to like win out or something. Like the last thing you
Yep.
wanted was this would be like week 8 and they're sitting there at 2-6 or 2-5, whatever it is, something like that, something crazy, where you're just like setting another coach up for failure because at that point, what is Jeff Ulbrich going to do? Now, the question I have for you, do you feel like maybe with Jeff Ulbrich, because I think he's going to be a CEO type head coach. I really think he's going to have his hand in that offense too. The same
Mhm.
way that Robert Saleh said he was putting a hand in that offense.
Right.
Sitting in on the offensive meeting does nothing.
That doesn't.
If
No.
you're not giving your ideas, because like the thing with Robert Saleh, I would have respected him a hell of a lot more if he went down kind of like you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Like if he went down with his thoughts and his beliefs, but we don't know what they were because he didn't have any. And the first person that popped in my head when I heard that Jeff Ulbrich was going to be the head coach, and I'm not comparing the two 100%, but
Can I
Dan
guess?
Campbell.
Yes.
Dan Campbell.
Yep.
He
Same here.
reminds me so much of Dan Campbell, and I just like he's not this great X's and O's guy. Like he's not the smartest head coach in the league, but he's that fiery guy. How many I've heard Dan Campbell? You guys are all I think about. You guys are all I think about. Like I think that's what Jeff Ulbrich is going to be, and I really think he's going to hold guys accountable. And I really think the days of like grabbing a player by the face mask and getting up in there, I think those days are over. Like
Yeah, you
you
can't
don't
do
see
that.
that. Yeah. But I think it's going to be like the level of accountability and like I like playing high school football. Like if I gave up a whatever the situation, if I screwed up, like you kind of walk away. Like you don't like if you see the head coach is down here, you kind of want to walk that way and kind of get off
Mhm.
onto the sideline. And my coach would walk right over to me. Where are you going? He goes, I'm over here. You just screwed up. Why aren't you coming to me? And you kind of put your head down. You're like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Like that's what you need from that. That's what you need for this team. This team needs that so desperately.
Mhm.
He needs to get up in Brees Hall's face. What are you doing? Why are you going? Whatever the situation is.
Right.
So I really think that this is what we're going to be getting from Jeff Ulbrich.
I kind of get the comparison, right, with Dan Campbell. I think that's what we want. I mean, Dan Campbell was interim head coach with the Miami Dolphins at one point. He had a little bit of experience there. Ulbrich had some experience at the Senior Bowl for I think two years or something as well. Like it was an on and off type of thing. To me, I'm going to kind of rewind this to Nate Hackett. I know everyone wanted him fired. Get him fired. Get him fired. I feel the only way that you can have this kind of success with Rodgers, Hackett, and even Devontae Adams is having a disciplinary head coach that can set the standard, right? If you look at the Green Bay Packers when Rodgers was two-time NFL MVP with Hackett. Again, we all want Hackett fired. He sucks. He's garbage. Pistol formation, 4th and 2. What are you doing? You suck. That's great. And I get it and well merited. But you can't pull the plug off of him just as yet. because he's the one with the playbook. He's the one that made Rodgers thrive. And when's the last time that we had a quarterback that was an NFL MVP? I can't remember. The only time that it was close, really close, 2 times. Ken O'Brien in 86 and Vinny Testaverde in 98. That was the only time that it was kind of close. But then the guy that won it blew him out of the water. Now you have someone like Jeff Ulbrich who can kind of have that same precedence like a LaFleur out in Green Bay. Not comparing. I'm just saying, just like you said, Brees, what are you doing? Let's get the wheels in motion. I think he has that kind of Dan Campbell persona. Now, time will tell. Time will tell. We could all be like, all right, you know what? We're very happy about this move. Now it's about the results. And it's a tough predicament for Ulbrich to be in. But you know what? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm going to compare it to this. Back in the mid-90s, the Houston Oilers, they gave a young defensive coordinator an opportunity. They fired their then head coach. His name was Jack Pardee, and entered Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher, golden opportunity, interim head coach. They selected Steve McNair the following year, and it was off to the races. He changed that whole entire franchise. The following year, they went to, I believe, Nashville, and became, again, the Titans. I see Ulbrich seeing that, maybe learning from that. All these coaches are NFL historians. It's a golden opportunity. Expectations are high now. There is no excuses. One thing that I like the most about Woody Johnson doing what he did today, he puts the entire franchise on notice. Not only the players, the coaches, and the GM, Joe Douglas, is on the hot seat. You can't convince me that Joe Douglas is coming back next year. You can't do it. Because what Woody showcased today is what he showcased Mangini's last year with Favre. No one expected Mangini to get canned at 9-7. He did it. He did it. This isn't a surprise. It's a surprise to many that it's in season. We're at 2-3, huge crossroads. But Woody knows what's at stake here. What's at stake is winning the division in a Super Bowl. I know 2-3 are like, what the hell? The Broncos were, again, what were they again? They were 2-3 as well. Peyton Manning's first year. 5-5 with Tom Brady with the Bucs. You need to hit your stride, and you need that seat hot. One last point. I think it was 2 weeks ago, Tom Brady was calling a game for the Buccaneers, and Baker Mayfield, stupid choice, he called out Tom Brady because he's like, hey, look, it's looser now in the locker room. People could be themselves. It's not as uptight as it was before. Wink, wink with Tom Brady. Tom Brady on air, he said, yo, dude, when I go to work, it's not a daycare. People are going to be upset, but they need to know what the task is. And the task isn't making the wild card. It's not just making the AFC divisional game. It's winning the Super Bowl. This is why we're here. This is it. This is why we're here. We're here. We signed Aaron Rodgers to be Super Bowl champions. And a move like today showcases that Woody Johnson gives a crap about his franchise and about the investment. And you guys, as much as the hate is going to increase about me saying that, Woody Johnson gives a crap about the fans. Because if the fans look down at Woody Johnson, then Woody Johnson doesn't have a business. So, guys, to me, this was a big-time move. Huge, enormous. Now, you want to bring on Charles just for 5 minutes?
Bring him on.
All right. Charles, what's up, my man?
How you guys doing?
I'm great, man. I'm good. Again, let me throw this out there. Just like Liam had said, I don't like it when people lose their jobs. I don't like that. Okay, that to me, it's not good.
It hits
The thing
home,
is,
especially as like a parent too.
yeah, I understand why it was made. That's all I'm going to say about that. Saleh didn't come to the forefront. He was given 4 years. It was always the same thing. There was never a change. But what he finally understood, in order to have a different result, a change had to be made. Charles, the floor is yours. How do you feel today?
Well, Christopher Johnson made the move to hire Saleh, and to be brutally honest, I think Saleh lied. I think Saleh said all those things just to get a head coaching job and didn't really do much of anything. I mean, Saleh may be a good family man and a good defensive coordinator, but he's not a head coach. I mean, yeah, I agree with Huawei. This is the most talented team we've had in quite some time. And this is also sends a message to Joe Douglas, who I think has done some good, also made some swings and misses. But with that being said, though, this had to be made. I like Jeff Ulbrich. I've always felt he was more of a head coach kind of guy than Robert Saleh ever was. There were times I felt we won because of how good of a coach Jeff Ulbrich was. Jeff Ulbrich was the reason why we beat the Eagles. I mean, let's just face it. It wasn't because of Saleh. It was because of Jeff Ulbrich. I mean, our offense didn't really do much of anything against the Eagles, but Jeff Ulbrich bailed us out. Jeff Ulbrich. Plus, Jeff Ulbrich, I believe, was an interim head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. At one point, he did a good job with that franchise for a while. So, plus, one of you guys made the comparison with Dan Campbell. Look, I love Dan Campbell. I think he's a very good coach. I know he's on an X and O's type of guy, but he really cares about the players. He cares about setting a foundation. He cares about building a better and brighter future.
Right.
Culture.
He has a CEO.
There's a culture over there.
There's a culture.
That's why the Detroit Lions, to me, are not the same old Detroit Lions anymore.
Nope.
I look at the Detroit Lions, like if Calvin Johnson, Hall of Famer, was playing for that team, he would be a lot happier. If Barry Sanders, another legend and icon, played for Dan Campbell, he would be a lot happier.
If Stafford was that quarterback right now.
Well, Jared Goff has actually played better these last couple of weeks, but
he has, but he's a little inconsistent too at times.
That's true.
I think if you're comparing the two, from Stafford to Goff, I'd go.
Stafford's the better quarterback without question. I mean, Stafford, he put up some great statistical seasons for the Detroit Lions. Unfortunately, more times than not, it went unrewarded.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm glad my father's very happy Robert Saleh got fired. He was not a big Robert Saleh fan.
My father too is very happy.
Well, that's the problem, right? Like, what did Saleh bring to the table? What did he bring? He brought Ulbrich. He brought Mike LaFleur. He brought, again, a quarterback coach. Again, God rest his soul, that he passed away in a tragic car accident, right? But there was that's the problem with the Jets. Like, they always bring these up echelon type of head coaches. Again, the new hot commodity right now is the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. He has never been a head coach in this league, Ben Johnson. He is what is hot. Everybody wants to go that route. If this doesn't work out with Ulbrich, guys, go and get me someone that's established, and that's Mike Vrabel, if we're going to go that route.
Mike Vrabel didn't really do that well his last few years in Tennessee, but I do get where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you mentioned Sean Payton. He is a great coach. I mean, he was a huge reason behind Drew Brees' success with the Saints. No disrespect to Drew Brees, but Sean Payton may be an asshole, but like Bill Belichick, the man knows how to coach. He knows how to discipline players. He knows how to hold people accountable. And Sean Payton, I think, look, I know Zach Wilson's the third string quarterback in Denver, if I'm not mistaken, but I think he'll definitely learn a thing or two behind Sean Payton. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but he'll definitely learn from a legit head coach, a guy who's had great success as an offensive coordinator, a guy who's had great success as the head coach of the Saints for so many years. I mean, Sean Payne's a damn good coach, and part of me is kind of glad that Denver's doing well right now. I mean, they have the third best defense in football. Bo Nix has played really good football these last 3 weeks, excuse me. Hasn't committed a single turnover these last 3 weeks. But
No,
you're, I
now,
mean,
Charles, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think that now with Jeff Ulbrich taking over head coaching responsibilities, do you think that maybe we see a decline in the defense?
I don't think so. I'm not trying to sound cocky or naive,
No,
but
yeah, sure.
I mean, look at Brian Dable. He's an offensive-minded head coach, and I've always felt he was a good coach. I mean, and I gotta call out Chris Canty. What the hell are you doing calling this man out for? What I saw on Sunday for the Giants versus Seattle, the man can coach. He came up with a game plan. He stuck with it, and the Giants stuck it to Seattle in one of the toughest places to play. They didn't just beat the Seahawks; they embarrassed Seattle in Seattle,
Right.
29-20. Could have been a lot worse if Eric Gray didn't fumble, but that's another story for another time. But when I'm paying my point is to you, when the Giants came, they played Thursday night versus Dallas. They couldn't score a touchdown. They only kick 5 field goals. They go to Seattle on 10 days rest, and they really go after the Seahawks. And I'm like, that's a coach.
A good Seahawks team too. A good team.
No, I know that. But that's coaching. Brian Dable won Coach of the Year for a reason in 2022 because the man knows how to coach. He didn't go to Alabama for nothing. He learned from Nick Saban. He spent a lot of years in New England learning from Bill Belichick. He spent a few years as the offensive coordinator in Buffalo helping out Josh Allen's development. Look what he's doing with Daniel Jones. And look, outside of that Minnesota Vikings game on the opener, Daniel Jones has played relatively well this year, and Brian Dable has stuck with the play call, and the Giants' offense hasn't really diminished. Do I think the reason why I say that because Brian Dable, if the defense took a decline, if Jeff Ulbrich was the head coach, then that would be a problem. But I don't see that happening because, he's not the defensive coordinator, he's the head coach, because the defensive guys. Thank you, Matthias. That's what I was going to say. He knows how to coach, how to be an offensive-minded head coach. Mm-hmm. And that's why my dad and I like him a lot. And if my grandfather was still alive, he'll be happy about that too. FYI, my late grandfather was a Giants fan. So,
oh man. Now, Charles, my man, always a pleasure having you on, man. All right.
Thank you.
Go Jets, brother.
Go Jets, my brothers. Go Jets.
So that's the thing, right? Like everyone's excited. Everybody is like, all right, you know what? This is the first domino to fall. Now tomorrow's the big day. This cannot have any kind of pushback from Devontae being a Jet. And that has to happen tomorrow. You know, we want to salvage this season, save the season, whatever the case is. That starts on Monday night. We need to have Devontae in the building Wednesday.
Correct.
And the beauty about having Devontae in here, that's why you don't get rid of Hackett. And I understand the narrative. You don't get rid of him yet. Because once Devontae comes into one Jets drive, he knows the playbook. He knows it. It's like riding a bike. He has the guy
another point too.
Another one.
When you're done.
He has the guy that throw him the ball. He has a rapport with him. And Aaron Rodgers comes right in. He will play Monday. And it's not a pitch count. It's a go. Let's all systems right on here. We got to win this thing. Devontae, you coming in here? We're paying you big bucks. And I think I talked to Armand earlier today. I'm going to go back. I'm sorry I keep going back and forth, but with Ulbrich, I have a feeling, especially after what Woody Johnson said today regarding my good friend Hassan Reddick. I have a strong feeling that Ulbrich is going to pull out a Rex Ryan move in where Rex Ryan went to the house of Bart Scott, knocked on the door, and said, I'm not leaving until you sign with the New York Jets. Saleh didn't do that.
Trying to pull up the picture.
Let me see if I can do it. Saleh didn't do that. again, there's a lot of aspects that, there you go, that Rex Ryan brought to the table that a lot of people overlooked. That, getting Jim Leonard and all that, it showcases to the player that you're more than a defensive coordinator. You're a head coach, and you care about the unity of your team. I have a strong inkling that Hassan Reddick will be a New York Jet within the next 2 or 3 weeks, probably even sooner. Because what Woody Johnson had said today, not a lot of owners say, man, come down here, come down the pike, 95, come through. This is gonna be career changing. Come through here. You don't know what you're missing. You're our missing piece here. We traded for you for a reason. You got Reddick in the house, brings a different dynamic. We need a pass rusher. I love what Will McDonald is doing, but we need someone else. And that's going to help Ulbrich that much more, kind of relinquishing his hold on the defense. My question is, who would be defensive coordinator? It hasn't been announced yet.
I think he's keeping his defensive coordinator duties, which is why I asked if possibly the defense will take a slight decline, because he's just going to have his hand in a little bit of everything. Now, before we get deeper into that, I just wanted to put one narrative to bed, and then we could get off the topic for the night with Davante Adams. There's reports everywhere saying that Davante Adams, he's not going to come in and be this big help, this big change that we need. I think he will, because not only does he already know the system, so it's plug and play, and I also think he's going to help develop Garrett Wilson. It's going to be good to see him with Alan Lazard and stuff like that. You know what Davante Adams does that these guys aren't doing at a high level right now? Just catching the ball. How many? I mean, look at the 4 drops by Alan Lazard. Garrett Wilson played excellent, so I'm not going to take that away from him. But that was one game too, and this season hasn't been his best season in the last 3 years.
Right.
All you need is an elite ball catcher.
Yes.
And it's such a difference. Such a difference. I just wanted to throw that out there because I just never agreed with that narrative that Davante Adams isn't going to be this big game changer. The hell he won't.
Yeah, he definitely will be. I mean, what Brandon Marshall did for us, what Braylon Edwards did for us.
Getting.
Exactly.
That's what we're getting.
Well, look.
Now, getting back to what's up?
I'm going to throw in this year real quick. It also puts to bed that, we switched at head coach. It's a done deal. Adams is not going to want to be here because it's on shaky ground. Check out what Schefter says.
Well, it's interesting because the 2 teams that I think he's got the most interest in are the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, his former quarterback, and the New Orleans Saints with Derek Carr, his former quarterback. But Derek Carr last night suffered an oblique injury that he described after the game as not good. Now, he was scheduled to have an MRI today to determine how much damage there is. But a week before, Anthony Richardson suffered an oblique injury, missed a game, could miss another, we'll see. And if he misses any time, then the Saints' season is at risk because they're already struggling right now with losses the last couple of weeks. So they need to find a way to stop that bleeding. Davante Adams obviously would like to be in New Orleans, would like to be in New York with the Jets. There's been discussions, but I think the events in New York and the events in New Orleans may have slowed down talks with those 2 teams, and we'll see if and when they can pick up some steam because everybody does expect that Davante Adams is going to be traded. We just don't know where and when, but right now the Jets are going through a head coaching change. New Orleans has an injured quarterback, and we'll see how that impacts Davante Adams going forward.
Wow. Big time, right?
It's interesting because
it's a big one there.
And the thing that scares me too is Rodgers is pretty banged up too. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about that.
He is, but he's such a trooper, man. Again, how he went back into the game. I thought he was out. I thought he was going to be out for like probably 2 or 3 weeks. He just showcased to the entire team, and I think that's what Woody Johnson saw as well. Said, I got a 40-year-old quarterback putting his body on the line, and because of a roughing the punter call, He didn't even step into the blue tent. He came trotting right back out, and he showcased the type of leader that he is. We lost the game, and instead of the head coach saying, I need to regroup. I need to see where this is going wrong. Showcase something, some fire. And again, it was funny how Woody Johnson was introduced today. He was introduced as the ambassador, right? So what does that lead you to believe? There was a lot of important people in England. He got his ass embarrassed in England badly. It took the trip back to the United States. It took Monday. And Monday, he probably mulled it over and he said, a week from tonight, it's going to be for first place. Maybe practice happened, whatever the case is, on a regular Tuesday. He probably couldn't sleep. Because I don't care how much money you have in the world, but when you are embarrassed, there's a change that has to be done. And that's exactly what he did this morning. And I think Aaron Rodgers respects that. He really does.
I think so too. And I respect that.
I think
the fans do.
The fans do as well. They respect the hell out of an owner who isn't like a Jerry Jones. You know, like Jerry Jones will never get a GM. He's the GM, and that's their demise, even though they won 3 Super Bowls with him.
Did you see the clip last week of him flying into practice on a helicopter?
Yeah.
It's like if Woody Johnson did that, I would be pissed.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I get it. Now the question I have for you is like, what are you expecting from Jeff Ulbrich moving forward now with this Jets team?
That is a solid question, and I think every Jet fan has to ask themselves that question. If this is true, that accountability becomes that underscored headline at One Jets Drive, I want to see the penalties being rectified. I don't want to see stupid penalties anymore. I don't want to see jumping off sides and then they trot back to the line, to the sideline, and nothing is done. If there's a 2-interception game, I'm not asking Ulbrich to go into Aaron Rodgers' face and start yelling at him. That's not going to happen. But I do expect Ulbrich to utilize the timeouts. And I'm not only saying the actual timeouts that we see on the screen. I'm talking about the TV timeouts. Hackett, you're here. Group your team, your squad. Something's off base here. We need to win this game. We had an experience like this against Denver, against Minnesota. There was a change made. We've seen it.
Yep.
Let's do what's right here. Let's win this game. That is what I want to see. I want to see a team that's disciplined. And I think we are dead tired of watching 4 years worth of a head coach not holding players accountable, and to the point where they're not even looking at each other in the mirror. They're looking at each other saying, why should I better myself if you're not even doing your part? You're not even getting reprimanded. Screw this. At this point, it is what it is. You gotta hit your stride starting right now. Get into first place. You get into first place on Monday night. Do you know what that means to that locker room? Dude, you have an interim head coach that's actually pushing out a certain product and an environment, an atmosphere, an aura to say, this is a different team right now. Different. And we got talent. And we got Devontae. And we got Hassan Reddick coming down the pike. Now all we got, now we're going to go into Pittsburgh. Let's get a 2-game winning streak. We'll be 4-3. Again, still sole possession of first place. And then let the cards fall where they may. We want to see a competitive, non-dumb, non-stupid product. We're Jet fans, man. Enough is enough with this bullshit that we see every Sunday. We should have beat the Broncos. 9-10. Give me a freaking break, man. I don't care if it's raining. It's football. It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's going to be snow. Aaron Rodgers knows how to play there, knows how to play in the snow. We're going to be playing meaningful games in December, but it starts Monday night. The first move was made to get your checkmate. The first part, Saleh's out of the equation. We can't use that excuse anymore, fellas. That's it. All the memes, all the funny jokes, all the one-liners, out the window. No more Saleh. You can't even blame Woody Johnson anymore. That hate is out. Right now, everything is on Aaron Rodgers and Jeff Ulbrich. Is he going to seize this opportunity? Personally, and I know I'm biased, I think he will. What do you look at?
And I mean, I think he's going to have a couple flaws along the way. Like, we're not asking or expecting him to be perfect. But besides, like, all of the
It ran out of gas. Very turbulent. I love Joe, man, no matter what.
all gas, no break. It was just all gassed. All gassed out. It happens. Love Joe too. Now, with that being said, like, yeah, of course I want to see the penalties cleaned up. Like, that's one of the bigger ones. But like, I want to see adjustments. Like, I can't tell you, like, I don't want to see any more 3 and outs on the first drive. Like, that should be your scripted game plan.
Yes.
So like, it's going to be some of the things that we like. What I want to see is going to be some of the things that we don't see. You know, Hackett, come here. What is your? Let's go over your script. Why are you calling? Why are we going with this? Why are we going with that? And have Hackett give a real explanation. I think we should do this because A and B and C. I think we should do this because 3, 4, and 5. And you know what? If it makes sense, okay, cool. Let's go with it. But you know what? As a defensive-minded coach, I don't even like to use that term, just
Right.
over what we were just getting out of. But as a defensive coach, be like, well, aren't you afraid of your linebacker coming here that just maybe seeing something that Hackett isn't seeing? But what I
Right.
do want to see is like those halftime adjustments.
Yes.
And I want it to be like time is of the essence. Time is our
Yep.
biggest enemy. And that, in my opinion, is like what needs to be just messaged throughout one Jets drive on Sundays. Going into the locker room, Rodgers, come here. You stand next to me. You take a knee right here. What's up, fellas? We're going with this, and this. This needs to change. We got to stop doing this play. Sauce, you're going to be running over here. Like, just real X's and O's stuff.
Absolutely.
And I know I just said that, like, maybe Ulbrich isn't the most X's and O's guy. I don't know, to be honest with you. I was really impressed, like, in that film room last year on Hard Knocks, when he says we have the only quarterback in the league to make that throw, and he's on our
Right.
team.
Yep.
He just self-awareness too. Like, that's another thing. Just like, can we stop with these, for lack of a better term, retarded press conferences? Like, where's the adult in the room? Now we
Right.
finally have one. We finally have the adult in the room. I don't want to hear we're not making any changes. I don't want to hear, like it was. I don't care how good of a team you play. I don't want to hear that yeah, they're a good team. You know what? We're the New York Jets. We are built as a Super Bowl contending team. We're the good team. We're the good team. And I want that us against the world mentality. No more playing around. No more smiling and giggling during press conferences. No more making stupid jokes. I don't care about his stories that he got off, the back of a Wheaties box.
Right.
From here on out, it is strictly football, strictly business. And I said earlier, the minute I knew that we didn't have the head coach was that business trip, that Thursday night monsoon game against Jacksonville. I was there. I was sitting right there when Quincy Williams and CJ Uzama came out dressed up as the Grinch on a
How
business trip.
ridiculous.
They started that season at 6-3 and they finished at 7-10. They started off 6-3 and it was a win and you're in. You needed to win one game to get into the postseason.
Right.
And that's how you have your team prepared. You're the head coach. That's how you have your team prepared. Now, granted, it's dumb to even as a player, but that shows you what the vibe in the locker room was. They didn't care about making the postseason. Their checks were coming in the mail each and every week, and that's all they cared about. They didn't care about the better of this team. Now, Quincy Williams, he grew up. He was one of the best linebackers in the league. He
Big time.
cares now. He cares. I think he said, like, he probably self-respected. He sat in his bed one night and said, "You know what? I gotta be better. And I can't make these comments until I'm better." And he plays like his hair is on fire each and every play. And I don't
Always.
care if you're playing 1 snap, 2 snaps, 3 snaps. I don't care if you're a starter, a second, third stringer. Every play is important. It is a 17-game season. We have already wasted the first quarter of that. And I don't care what Robert Saleh said because it's not true. The season is not early. It's not a young season. There's not plenty of football left. Every week counts. You're seeing certain teams come back down to earth like the Buffalo Bills. You're seeing certain teams get hot. You got to be in the mix. You got to stay at 500 or better. You cannot fall below 500 anymore, especially with the division on the line. So what I expect from Jeff Ulbrich, be the adult in the room. And I don't think that's asking too much as a head coach.
I agree. I agree. I mean, Ulbrich, I believe, played under Steve Mariucci, if I remember correctly, when he was a linebacker in 2000 as a rookie or whatnot. And again, playing in San Francisco, it's different than being a coach or a strength and conditioning coach or a defensive coordinator, raw type of. When you're, that's why I always give the edge to these ex-player coaches, ones that have played. Very seldom do you ever have someone that out of nowhere is just knocking it out of the park. They have played at some point. I think in that era, and I know that Saleh came from the Niners and whatnot. I get it, but it's two different eras. And when Ulbrich was there in 2000, he saw the Joe Montanas, plaques and everything, the Steve Youngs. Everything was still fresh. Steve Young just retired. And he learned what it was to learn from an actual head coach, or like someone like the Mooch, who was player friendly, but also had standards as well. Where he had to pull the plug, he had to do it. He had to do everything that he needed to do. That's why I'm excited to see Ulbrich in here. I'm excited that there is a change. I think that's all we wanted, because we did not want to go through what we went through last year, because we're thinking, oh yeah, but we have Rodgers. But it sucks when you don't have a coach that's hindering your team, and you're having maybe an owner that doesn't see that and is not going to be making an actual change. But he did it. He put all those naysayers to bed, all of them. He's not going to do it. He's not that kind of owner. He would have done it last year with getting like Carson Wentz, but he's a penny pincher. Penny pincher my ass, man. This year, he knows that he has no idea what 2025 is going to happen. He invested so much money, man, on this offensive line, on this quarterback, the defense as well. There's no way that he wasn't going to be making this move, and he did it. I'm just shocked that he did it at 2-3, and I love it. I love it. And Matthias is right, man. Like 100%. People forget Woody spends money. CJ Mosley, Bell. Let's keep going, man. I mean, Rodgers, Brett Favre, he'll do it. Santonio
Brandon
Holmes,
Marshall,
Thomas
Eric
Jones,
Decker,
Chris Jenkins, Calvin Pace. When Calvin Pace was going to Miami,
Bart
I
Scott,
get it. Bart Scott, Leonard,
Antonio
what's his name?
Cromartie,
Yep.
Jim
Revis.
Leonard.
He's not cheap. But he tries to get the right chemistry. It's not like a Dan Snyder out with the Commanders or the then Redskins. It wasn't like that. Like, all right, let me just get everybody. Let me get Deion Sanders, Bruce Smith, who else? Brad Johnson, all these guys. And it just didn't work out. And Elmo, you're right. Like, that press conference today, it wasn't like an out of the water, like, wow, man, those are great sound bites, Jeff. Nah, there's a problem here. I can't answer that question. I just got handed the job 4 hours ago. I got to assess this. Oh, are there going to be changes at the coordinator? No. I love that. There's not.
Yep.
There's not. All right, but what about their roles? I got to check that out. That is a head
Dude,
coach.
I'm getting goosebumps.
You have to. You have to, because this is the change that we haven't seen ever. We have not seen this kind of change. Like, let's be real, right? Like when Bowles was going down the slumps, we're like, all right, we just got blown out at home by Matt Barkley. All right, he's definitely going to get canned tomorrow, right? Nope, Woody just waited. He waited. So that's one good thing. Like Vinny said yesterday, what coach wants to come here? What coach in their right mind wants to come here? If you're a head coach out there and you might be a candidate, you're looking at all these things. You're looking at the New York Jets head coaching job if this doesn't work out and says, you know what? This owner is giving every employee every opportunity to turn things around. When it's even Rex Ryan, where he was going to get the axe at 8-8, and Geno Smith threw career numbers against Miami in the last game of the season, he goes into the locker room and he says, guess what, guys? I'm coming back for another year. Bam. Adam Gase did not deserve those years. He still came back. Saleh. Let's be real, Liam. He did
They
not.
gave Saleh plenty of time. They gave
He
Saleh
didn't
the
deserve.
benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
They
didn't
they
deserve.
gave Saleh the quarterback that he never had. And before he can ruin that quarterback, they had to abort ship.
Right.
But they didn't really even abort ship. They threw him off the ship, really.
They did. They threw him right off. Johnny, what's up, man? Welcome back, man. Amazing. Less than 24 hours. Right?
Johnny, I'm so glad you're back, man.
It's beautiful.
Hey, look.
I'm so glad you called in.
Where is Armand? Where
He's
is Armand? Because he needs to talk to Dan. He needs to speak with Dan right now. Dude, last night we talked about it, right? If they make this move, it's telling us, the fans, we haven't given up. We want to win. We got a guy that's in the wings that could hold them accountable for things. Woody did what Dan said. He picked up his balls, he put them on the table, and he said, I run this ship. This is my show. And I'm not going to let it get ruined because we've had so much talent in this team that we've built. Dan, you were spot on last night talking about that. That was Dan's words about the whole putting it on the table.
Well, that's a South American term, you know.
I know.
It's called poniendo los huevos en la mesa. Putting your
Yep.
balls on the right there. And you say, you know what?
That.
If things go down, I do that all the time. But it's like a curtain now. Like I don't. It's very easy for me to do. The other ones just hang down. But to me, it's Woody did what he needed to do, and he showcased to the fan base, hang in there. Another thing, again, it's a little bit of everything, right? It's about salvaging this season. It's about making sure that Aaron Rodgers knows that the franchise is invested. First place is on the line. But also remember, he's a business guy. It's Monday night. It's at home. That place, I'm telling you guys right now, if you guys thought opening day last year was electric, and you're going to be there, Liam, no bad juju, bro. No bad juju, okay? You're not leaving your seat. You're not getting no Coca-Cola, no nothing. Everything you did last year
in the parking lot.
You are staying in your seat. All right. Yeah. Vinny Testaverde is not allowed at the stadium. All right.
I want a restraining order against him.
But what you're going to see in that stadium is going to be a playoff atmosphere where Buffalo Bills fans are going to regret that they went there, because they're going to be like, this Jets team is for real. Yep. And the crown.
My girlfriend's going to cry.
Yes. Oh, she's a Bills fan.
Honey.
That's right.
Hey Dan,
yes,
you know what it took for this to happen? It took for Affirm, I think his name is, right? Or Ephraim. It took Ephraim to curse and go off the wall for Woody to finally listen and understand what's going on. Look, does it suck that a guy got fired? Yes, because that's his. I mean, that's his livelihood. You know,
Right.
he got 50 kids. You know,
Right.
but at the end of the day, he needed to be held accountable for what he was doing, the product that he was putting on paper, and it was nothing. It was trash. It was bad. You got freaking Ulbrich's presser today and showed more oomph than
Yep.
what Salah has done in the last 3.5 years in any of his pressers.
Right. Because it wasn't fluff. It wasn't Luca. What's up, my man? Welcome to the show.
Luka.
What's up?
Yeah, we're just touching on the press conference. And again,
Absolutely
John,
caught part of it.
yeah, Johnny is on point. It was a short one. It was 10 minutes tops. And it wasn't your Rex Ryan, your Herman Edwards, even your Salah type, we're going to run through a brick wall. Yo, there's something evidently wrong here. We have all the talent in the world. Woody Johnson is spot on. What is going on here? We need to rectify this. And I'm going to make it brief. All right. Are you going to make some changes? I have to see. Because he, again, like I said, wet behind the ears, 4 hours into this, he was game planning against Buffalo. And imagine that. You get a promotion. And now you have to, this is going to showcase if Ulbrich is ready, right? Like there was a saying during COVID, I remember, and it said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's exactly where Ulbrich is at right now. And I really hope that he seizes the moment, and I feel that he is. He has every opportunity to do so. And I think he's going to just knock it out of the park, just like the Mets are doing right now.
Yeah, I see the rep for
Apparently
nothing.
Armand is at the Met game.
Yes, he is. He told me so. He said he's going to Game 3 tonight, and I think he had texted me earlier. He's like, you know what? When I went to go see the Mets in April, the Jets traded for Son Reddick. Now I'm going to Game 3, and Robert Saleh just got fired. So maybe he's like the I'm not going to say he's a jinx, but something along those lines like that.
Can he go to a game maybe in February?
If only baseball. If maybe again, spring training doesn't start till 2 weeks after the Super Bowl, which sucks. But I see where you're going, Liam. But just offer my thoughts as well regarding this firing. Like my brother actually screamed at me this morning, "Wake up, wake up, wake up!" And I was like, "Yo, let's fucking go!" Because again, the one underrated thing about this firing is not only did you fire him 2 or 3 right timing, not when the season's completely falling down. If you fire him next week, you're giving Jeff Ulbrich a short week because it's Monday to Sunday next week. Because Monday Night Football against the Bills, you lose. Sunday, you have to go to a rowdy environment in Pittsburgh. This week, you're coming back from London. You get that extra day, and Ulbrich gets to prepare for Monday Night Football, again, for the extra day. So I think that's a very underrated element as of the timing of this firing in general. But I think it was the right move. I'm going to keep my thoughts short. But it was the right move. Everybody's calling this out in terms of the media pundits and all this bullshit. Everybody's being I call it the Salah Muppet media PR machine because they're talking about the offense and stuff. Like this firing doesn't solve all problems. I get that. But you have to look at it with some nuance. Well, not really nuance, but look at the basics, right? Salah's the head coach. His team was never held accountable. They had the most penalties. I think there was a stat out there that I even retweeted myself. I'm going to find it. They were outscored 247 points in the last couple of years with Salah as head coach. That's inexcusable. Here's the stat. During Robert Saleh's tenure, the Jets were outscored by 267 points in the first half, which is worse than the NFL. During Robert Saleh's tenure, the Jets had 60 more penalties than their opponents, worst margin in the NFL. The team was consistently unprepared and undisciplined. And accountability and undiscipline, they also won't be justifying losing. Saleh comes and says, oh, give credit to the other team. Ulbrich, again, he wasn't going to have this rah-rah kind of speech, as Dan said. But you know what? He's going to be like, this is not acceptable. We have talent. We have to do better. Just saying something plain as that and being simple about it, I think is fine. Again, it's his first few hours on the job. So you know what? I'm not going to trash him for that. I'm not saying he's going to demote Hackett immediately. I know people are going off about, why aren't the Jets firing Hackett? But it was the right move.
Hey,
Look at
Yeah,
that.
I agree 100%.
hey, can I
It
say
was the
one
right
thing?
move.
You see that
Yeah.
picture right there? This
Beast.
guy is gonna tell Hackett to F off, give the ball to Braylon Allen, and ram that crap in there. He's not gonna be worried about, oh, Brees Hall. I don't want to hurt his feelings right now. I don't want to, because he's done this. He did it when we had nothing. We had a crap, and that's all we had, which was Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall. You know what I'm saying? Like, I agree with you, Luca. Right? You said.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, Luca. You know, the thing is, 4 hours. He was given 4 hours to be like, I went from a defensive coordinator to a head coach, and I was prepping as a defensive coordinator. Now I got to throw and scrap all that shit away and get ready to be a head coach. His players, his defensive players, are going to be firing at all cylinders. We're about to see the defense going insane, flying everywhere. Josh Allen might not make it to the third quarter, man. I believe it. And I believe it. Somebody put out that one video of him talking about Aaron Rodgers and saying, this effing guy right here will consistently always keep us in the game and will not lose it for us. Because he's going to be put in positions all summer long. We were talking about, we're going to play this year with the lead. We're playing with the lead, and we're going to see something different, and we haven't seen it yet. We're playing catch up. We're expecting Aaron to play hero ball and throw it like 100 freaking times, and hopefully, he makes it okay and he scores for us. We can't do that. It's not sustainable.
I also want to point out two things as well. I forgot about this. Allen got hurt on Sunday, and obviously the NFL's getting some criticism over the smelling salts thing with his concussion and whatnot. So he might not even play next week. Who knows? But another aspect of Ulbrich getting to put his fingerprints on the team, the game plans. As a CEO, you ultimately decide your mindset. Am I conservative or am I going to have an aggressive game plan? And Saleh's game plan, his fingerprints, he didn't really have much on the offense, and I don't think he could explain the offense, but a lot of the times he was very much play not to lose. Okay, this is sufficient. Not we're going to ram the ball down your throat. We're going to be super aggressive. So Ulbrich trying out for these other teams, he's like, you know what? Let me show off my aggressive mentality. I'm hoping he does that. I'm hoping he's more aggressive. I am hoping the Jets just come out with a new mentality, because there are just times where the team looked lifeless.
Well, that's the
It
thing,
was
right?
always a race to 20 it was always a race to 20.
That's one. And then you see, I want to bring this back to Ulbrich, where in the offseason, people forget that the Niners wanted him as a defensive coordinator. He was going to make a lateral move. Who's to know? I know it's been 4 hours that he got that news, but who's to say he got that certain news and say, hey, look, you know what? Don't go to San Francisco, because there's no way that you're going to be a head coach. In the event things go south with Saleh, just get prepared.
Right.
Now, knowing the writing on the wall, maybe he had kind of a premonition at this. And also keep in mind, these football players and whatnot, they're trained for this. Any moment you have to be available. Practice squad players, they get called up a day before the game or the day of, whatever the case is. You have to be ready. That's why I think Ulbrich, even though this might seem new to us, that he's a first-time head coach, he's been working his butt off ever since, I think it's 2010. He played his entire 10 years with San Francisco. I think he was a third-round pick. Yep. He knew about continuity. His first head coaching job was, I believe, with Pete Carroll with Seattle. So I forgot what position that he was.
Assistant special teams coordinator, actually, if you're talking about Ulbrich.
Yes, exactly. And that speaks volumes as well, because you look at someone like John Harbaugh. He wasn't a defensive coordinator. He wasn't off. He was a special teams coach. You need to have that special trait in order to be a head coach, to connect with players and to have a certain subtle division there of being player friendly, but also being that head coach. Kind of like, like a father figure. Again, me personally, I love my daughters. I play with them. But they know that there's a huge difference between friends and dad. And I think there was that huge gray area with Saleh and his players. The players looked at him not as head coach.
Yep.
They looked at him more as like a friendly chaperone. All right, he's here, right? Like, all right, it's the first quarter, 13 minutes left in the quarter. I just ran for a first down, and he's fist pumping like a dude from the Jersey Shore. Like at that point, where is the been there, done that mentality? Honestly, I think the crowd is going to go nuts. I know I will. After the first touchdown of the Jets, I want that camera panned right to Ulbrich. I want to see his expression in saying, been there, done that. Let's get ready to play on defense. That's what I want to see.
Not jumping around like a cheerleader.
Oh, my goodness. Enough of that.
Luca, I said Robert Saleh is the most expensive cheerleader on Jets payroll. That's all he was.
Right.
That's so true. And the I gotta tell you, like the most underrated moment was Saleh cheering and whatnot, and then Rodgers is like, "Whoa, take it easy," and then basically with the little hit because he's like, "Bro, you obviously haven't been here before. Let's relax." And that's what happens, and it's like very indicative of Saleh's teams. They have a little bit of success and then they can't handle it. Like the win against the Patriots, they came out flat against the Broncos.
Yep.
Right.
That's the thing too. It's like that Patriot game was supposed to be a building block point. How do we build off of this? How do we carry that momentum? And how do you carry that momentum? You lose 10-9. And then like as a head coach, you're like, all right, listen, we had a bad game. It happens. Let's wipe ourselves off, dust ourselves off, get back up. Let's get back to game planning. How could we avoid this from happening again? Listen, guys, we have a big flight. I figured out the sleep schedule. That's one thing that Robert Saleh did. He figured out how to sleep in London. And you know what? He didn't figure out how to wake up, though, because there were zombies out there, especially in that first half. So then after that bad game, instead of prepping they even asked Robert Saleh. They said, what are you doing differently to eliminate these penalties? Nothing. They're grown men. Nothing. That was his answer. Nothing. So then you get embarrassed in front of Woody Johnson's people because, like, Dan, that's a good point. I didn't even think about. Like, those politicians, they were there. Like, all the political, like, other ambassadors and stuff that, like, live in London, they were all there because that was the hottest ticket in town.
Huge.
What does Mike Francesca have to say?
I don't know. But I just saw this. This was, I guess, a hot topic on Twitter right now. Let's all hear it together. This is my first time hearing this. Let's do it.
Me too.
Coach, I heard someone say today, well, Saleh had nothing to do with the offense. What do you mean he had nothing to do with the offense? He's the head coach. He has something to do with everything that has to do with the football team. He's the head coach. He was not hired to be the defensive coordinator. Then you can make the statement that he has nothing to do with the offense. Otherwise, it is a dumb statement to say that the head coach has nothing to do with the offense. He can't not have anything to do with the offense if he's the head coach.
So he's spot on, right? Because he's on that same mentality of him and Parcells and still are very good friends. You're right. Mike is 100% on point here. You're the head coach. You're not the defensive coordinator anymore. Your hands is in everything. Everything. You can't just be like, this posture out the window, man. I want to see Ulbrich the same way how we have been seeing him for the past 4 years. The pen right behind his ears, clipboard, iPad, whatever the case is, looking at right backwards and keeping the game at hand right there. A game within the game. And I think that first matchup, I know it's a big task, but if everyone could rally around, I think we leave that stadium in sole possession of first place.
He just gives me CEO type head coach vibes. And that's what we hired Robert Saleh as. Because before, like when we were looking for a head coaching candidate, Adam Gase was supposed to be an offensive guru. He was the offensive guy. He had no hand in the defense. So then I remember like where I was sitting when Joe Douglas specifically said, we need a head coach that has his hand in both. And we just never got that. It took until this past offseason for Robert Saleh to allegedly get his hand in offense, and I didn't see a single change. It looks identical. And it's so identical that they have the same amount of points this year, that they did this week last year. That's how identical it is.
Hey, Liam, Dan, and Luca, like, I'm about to head out real quick, but I wanted to leave you guys with this. That's why the presser for me was so big, because he made it a point to say that I'm not a defensive coordinator anymore. I got to scrap that and become the head coach. That was huge for me, for him to say that. To put that out there, to make sure he says that, spoke volumes. And I say this, look, the move needed to be done. Am I excited? Am I happy? Am I this? No, I'm not. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be happy, right, when we start making the run and we continue to keep winning. We need to win. He wins the whole fan base, because right now, the fan base is teeter-tottering right now. It's going up. It's going down. We don't know. It could break at any single moment. But keep putting that weight towards you and keep pushing yourself up, taking it off on the other end, and win. Win is the only way to cure everything. Win, win, win. Guys, keep killing it. I appreciate you guys letting me get on real quick. I had to come on here because we were literally talking about this a few hours ago before it happened. And it happened. Hey, pelotas on la mesa, por favor. Just put it on there, man.
Put the balls on there, baby.
Appreciate you guys, man. Y'all be good.
Thank you for calling in, Johnny.
Catch you later, bro.
And for everyone listening and tuning in right now, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. And again, the link is there. Definitely click in and let us know what you're thinking. Luca, what are your thoughts from Monday night? How do we come out of there with a win? Are we going to play finally clean football?
Well, first of all, I want to mention real quick that I also think Mr. Afram had a hand in Robert Saleh's firing, because if you don't notice, Afram actually has a Twitter account, and Sunday was like the first time in a while I saw him adding Woody Johnson on Twitter. He'd be like, "This is the image of your football team with a clown face and all this different stuff." But I think Woody Johnson got tired of that. Regardless, Monday night, it's going to be a big game for Jeff Ulbrich. Like this is like Liam just talked about, that Patriots game should have been the launch pad for the season. This game has a chance to be that launch pad because, we started 2-2. You have the Vikings, the Bills, and the Steelers. The Vikings, it's not a conference game. The Bills is not only a conference game, it's a divisional game. And obviously got the Steelers, another conference game. So the Bills just lost 2 in a row. You think they're going to come out angry and pissed because they just lost to Baltimore and they lost to Houston. 2 games on the road. This is their 3rd game on the road. They're going to come out pissed and angry as well. And for me, Ulbrich has to fire up this team, keep this team in the game, no lifeless on the sidelines, all this different stuff. But if I'm starting offensively, I'm letting the pass set up the run. This has been the problem for the Jets the past couple of weeks. The Jets don't even face stacked boxes in the running game. Their run blocking is poor, their coaching is poor. But regardless, let the pass set up the run. Get that quick. Everything you did in that Patriots game, look back at it and say, you know what? We were successful doing this. Let's do this. No run, pass BS. We're going to pass to set up the run. Therefore, the defense can be kept on honest, and we can have Breece Hall or Braylon Allen running up the middle, and we're hopefully taking a lead. Feature everybody. Don't just target Allen Lazard. Don't just target Garrett Wilson. Mike Williams is there to be had for a little bit of deep shots and also jump balls and fades near the sideline. Tyler Conklin, use him in the middle of the field. Also use Braylon Allen out of the backfield. Mix in your different weapons. And I don't know if Corley's going to be active, but regardless, just use your variety of weapons. And the defense definitely, whether Allen is fully healthy or not, they have to get after. Will McDonald, he had a sack last game. Keep playing Leonard Taylor as well. Leonard Taylor, I think the Jets are 2-0 and they actually, no, not even 2-0. They're 1-1. But Leonard Taylor has shown out in both games that the Jets have played him in. The Vikings game this past week, and then the Patriots game on Thursday night. So keep playing him. And I'm also interested to see how Jeff Ulbrich uses his defensive game plan. Is he really going to go with his rotations, or is he going to be like, you know what, most of the time I'm putting the opus on Quinnen and all the Quinnen and our best guys instead of doing these Fugazi rotations. But anyways, it's got to be stayed locked in offensively. Let the pass set up the run. Defensively, get after the quarterback and finally let's stop the run.
And I think you bring up a great point, because the best friend for Aaron Rodgers is a run game, in which we have not had. And I think that, again, is an accountability issue. The offensive line, Keith Carter, offensive line coach. What are you doing? What are you doing during the weeks? You know what I mean? Like, enough is enough. You have a 40-year-old quarterback that he got sacked in that game. I thought his bones were broken and he's done. Dude trotted back out. He's sick. I guess the ayahuasca is working. It's kicking in. He came in. He led the team down for 3 points. But there's no run game.
None.
Now, with that being said, we have, without further ado, do you see this, Liam? Do you see it?
Yes, I do.
We got the one and only Joe Cat's in the house. What's up, brother?
Yes,
Man?
let's go. Let's go.
What's happening, fellas?
What's up?
How's everyone?
Hey, look, we just got you're funny. Look, we had I can't go back anymore.
Well, what happened?
Let me see.
I'll pull it
We
up.
had yeah. So ridiculous.
What happened?
All right. Oh yeah. All right.
What you got?
I'm trying to get this. I can't get it. You got it?
No.
I'm working on it.
Okay, you got it.
So what's new with you fellas?
The same thing, but this is a surprise. Like, even Joe, even you, like, the acumen of being a Jet fan for the longest, this blindsided me. You see?
Yep.
They miss you.
There's always one guy. It didn't really. I mean, it surprised me because it's very not like the Jets, but I mean, they're still gonna suck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're still gonna blow ass.
I love it.
The offensive line is terrible. Sorry,
Yep.
I'm outside for basketball
No.
practice, but the offensive line's terrible. Rodgers has like 1 second before every other play he's getting peeled off the field by his own guys, like helping him up off the field. He's getting his ass kicked. Garrett Wilson's not a number one, folks. He's just not a number one. I hate to break it to the Jet fans, because it's heartbreaking. We want our own Randy Moss. He's not the guy. He's at best a 1, or his ceiling is Chris Godwin to me when I watch him. Mike Williams, barely there. The defense plays with no balls. Sauce isn't, Brian Dawkins. It's just like we hyped ourselves up for these players that, like, we did the thing on the pod, like, where it was like Jets good or really good. And these are really good players, but like, Breece Hall's not Barry Sanders. Like,
Right.
It just is what it is. Like, this is where you're at right now, and I'm excited for Ulbrich because I like Ulbrich. I think the players buy into him, but you still have Nate Hackett. So as long as you have Nate Hackett still calling the plays, and even with Rodgers, he's given like 3 plays to choose from or whatever. His audibles suck. So like, what I see an old man, and I see a guy, like, the arm is still there, but nobody's on the same page. It's just shit coaching, and hopefully he does a good job. But I think after this year, I don't think Devontae's going to change much unless Devontae's going to play offensive line. It's just going to be another guy he's struggling to get the ball to.
But Joe, we used to have discussions on, like, if we had to choose Dan Campbell or Robert Saleh, right? We would go with Campbell. He would always have that accountability, especially what he's doing in Detroit. Now, if Ulbrich brings even half of that, right, where he places coaches on notice, players on notice, do you see at least them leveling up and say, all right, you know what? We're at 2-3. We have to make this opportunity, at least get this going.
No, Aaron Rodgers is the coach. This team sold its soul for Aaron Rodgers. You got to get on the train and take the ride. That's it. It just is what it is.
He's
This
more
is
the
the
owner
Aaron
than the
Rodgers
coach.
era. Yeah, 100. He's
More
running the
the
team,
owner.
dude.
Yep.
100%.
So let me ask you this though: with Jeff Ulbrich taking over as head coach, what positives do you see coming from this?
Nothing. They're still a 9-8 team. Like, just because Ulbrich's being the coach, all right. The defense, like, Sauce doesn't pick the ball off. The team is still undisciplined. There's still players on the team that are running to Twitter right after and exposing their stats. There's no, like, that's the kind of shit that, like, I think this team is, like, I don't mean to sound like super negative, but which I am, but the team is just broken, dude. Like, you gotta just sit back and take the ride. Whatever happens is gonna happen. They're 9-8 at best, 8-9, 9-8. Like,
but isn't that why the move was made? Right. To me, it's like the move was made that Woody sees that all the money that he put into Rodgers and whatnot. Ulbrich brings that kind of accountability to this squad where if things don't go right. And again, I get it, the whole Hackett thing. And again, I'm on board. I don't like it. But with that being said, he was part of the trifecta with Adams, Rodgers, and himself. Having Rodgers an NFL MVP for those 2 straight years. You get Adams here. You have some sort of structure where the head coach is kind of putting his balls on the table to say, yo, enough is enough with this bullshit. I'm going to call a timeout. Hackett, get your group together. Because
is he, Dan? Is he? Like,
we don't know.
Ulbrich,
We have no idea.
Who's never been a head coach. Do you think anybody in that locker room is going to tell Aaron Rodgers what to do? Or no, it's Aaron Rodgers, man. He's running the show.
I think it would be Devontae. To be honest, to keep Rodgers at bay, right? I think that's why that trade for Devontae would work out that much more. Like, let's say if Devontae was there this past Sunday and he throws those 2 interceptions, I would think that Adams would go up to Rodgers and say, dude, we got to regroup here because this does not look good.
I don't know. I mean, where's Quentin Williams? Does that guy exist anymore?
You saw Becton today? The guy that we actually like destroyed and they destroyed us. He threw a freaking picture of a funeral and then he wasn't man enough to keep it up there and he deleted it.
Listen, Quentin
Can't be all
Williams
that
got paid.
surprised.
At the end of the day, Quentin Williams got paid on 12 sacks. 12 of those sacks, 7 of them were on backup quarterbacks. So up until Quentin Williams got paid, he was a 3-sack, 5-sack guy, middle of the road. Same shit you're seeing. He's out of shape. He's on the sideline huffing and puffing, grabbing his ribs. He's significantly fatter. And he's getting double teamed. Everyone else, Leonard Taylor beat the double team. Right?
Dexter Lawrence is doing that with the Giants. He's got like 5 sacks already.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to get paid like the guys and you're getting paid like the guys, you're not playing like the guys.
His brother's doing better.
I'm glad Saleh's gone. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome. But, I mean, it's a different movie with different actors, man. It's basically like when George Clooney became Batman after Val Kilmer. That's it. That's like, you knew it was going to be, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, like, this Saleh firing, it doesn't really get my dick hard. You know what I mean?
He's gonna go slice his wrist.
Yeah,
now.
I think we just found another soundbite for the intro.
No, like, I'm just being real. Like,
I hear you. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, everyone takes me as negative. Like, I'm just trying to be real. Like, I'm going to the game Monday.
Oh, you're gonna see Liam?
Oh, me too.
Oh, well, I told you, I only go if you buy the tickets. You drive me there and you pay for all the beer, and then I go. But so I'm going Monday. But yeah.
You have to text me. We'll have to meet up and tailgate a little bit. We'll drink.
Yeah, I think I'm in this coaches club thing.
So you're hanging out.
I thought you bought the shirts already.
I bought, dude. You want to know how much an asshole I am? I bought the Fire Saleh shirt. I made it, and I'm getting on the field before the game. So my whole plan was I was going to wear the shirt front and back that said Fire Saleh, and I was going to be on the field while they're warming up. And this fucking motherfucker, the one time the Jets fire a coach is like when the shirt gets delivered to my house today.
I'll give you $5,000 to order a new shirt that says Fire Ulbrich.
And where the guy's never coached a game for the team. Listen, I don't know. I don't know. I'm excited, but am I like I'm a little chubbed
You
up
could
for
always go
Monday.
to Fire Hackett still. That's still fair.
That's true.
Right, like
Well-
fireman. Like I probably just say fireman Ed. That's what I want to do.
Fire Fireman Ed, yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
Jetman, the guy in the other spandex. But how you guys been?
I'm good. It's just you bring up a great
Living.
point. Like we're trying to spin this. We're trying, but it's the same record until we're proven otherwise. Parcells did that. Like there was that 97 season coming off of a 3-13 year. What Parcells did, he laid everything down with the body of work. Just win. That's one thing I took out of this press conference. It was 9 to 10 minutes. It wasn't your flashy slogans. It was going to go to the drawing board. We got to get this. We got to get this going. That's it.
Probably
It was
shocked.
done.
He was probably shocked.
He was like, "What the?"
Like he walked into work today and he was like, "What the fuck? I got to fucking coach this abomination." I mean, you know what I mean?
Now this is my problem.
I didn't sign up for this.
Right. Like I don't know. Maybe Rob Saleh is at Jay Gray's house in the man cave. I don't know.
He said,
What I gotta say, one thing that Joe Cat loves is the Jets Twitter pom pom boys. I don't like them either.
Yeah, I love them. Realistically, this is a 1-4 team if Will Levis wasn't playing quarterback.
"Yeah."
Being honest, that's true.
I mean, any other quarterback that didn't fucking go bowling on the 20-yard line would have won that game. So I don't know. The team, to me, when I went to a Patriot game, Rodgers looked amazing in person. His ball's amazing. It's great, right?
Yep.
And Ulbrich's cool. I'm down with Ulbrich. Awesome. He's the guy. It's better than Hackett, but Hackett's still there. And it's Hackett and Rodgers until the end. And you just got to grab a ticket, watch this one-way ticket to Fucktown, and that's it. That's it. Like, you just got to sit back and watch it burn. That's all you can. And you know what? If they don't do anything this year and they finish 9-8, I'm trading everybody. You trade Sauce for 2 fucking first-round picks, trade fucking Garrett, trade all these fucking guys, go get your quarterback, move up to get Quinn Ewers, and get a real coach in here. That's it. Because there's no point in having a $30 million a year cornerback when you don't have a quarterback. We already did that with Revis.
Right.
He wasn't getting paid $30 million, but it just shows you, like, what the fuck do I need a number one cornerback? He's not number one. Patrick Surtain ran a pick 6 back, which Sauce doesn't pick the ball off.
That dropped interception.
How does that happen?
Key.
How does that happen?
He can't tackle for shit. He can't tackle for shit. And
you know what? I'll say this, Joe. It's not that he can't tackle. He doesn't choose to. Like whenever he tackles, it's an arm tackle.
Yeah.
It's like,
right. It's an arm tackle.
He's a shutdown. He's like a lockdown. He's not even like a lockdown corner. He's just like somebody that, for whatever reason, opposing offenses still kind of fear.
Yeah, look, DJ Reed played better than him. You know,
Eccles, look at David.
I know.
Look at,
Every time he plays, it's an interception for a touchdown.
I know.
He
I
picks
know.
it off.
I know. Hassan Reddick, that's another disaster.
But only the Jets, Joe. How do you trade for a holdout?
Jets basically, like, all your boys said, hey, like, don't date this chick. She's like a floozy. Don't date her. And then, like, the Jets come in and be like, you know what? I'm going to make that girl a wife. Even though she's got problems, I'm going to make this girl a wife.
Red flags.
The Jets go in, knock her up, and now the Jets are paying somebody else's child support. That's what it is.
Right.
They're trying to turn her into a housewife.
They were looking at those red flags like a matador looks at that
like,
red
they
tarp.
just did all this. They did all of this so dumb. Like,
oh my goodness,
it's so dumb. Like, and listen, Belichick's not going to coach the Jets. All right, there's no chance. All right, the guy left on a napkin, and Listen, Sauce is a cover guy with great length. It's awesome. But I mean, $30 million. What are we gonna have? Fucking the cripple throw to him. Who's the quarterback we took with 2 broken legs?
Travis Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan Travis.
Jordan
Yeah, we're
Travis.
gonna have Jordan Travis with a $30 million a year cornerback. I'm okay. Just go get a real coach this year. After this, debacle's over, go get a real coach. Trade everybody and go get Quinn Ewers. That's it.
What's the real coach on your mind? Do you have one?
I mean, Ben Johnson's not going to come here unless you're sitting at a full rebuild and say he wants his quarterback that he wants, But there's really nobody on my mind. I mean,
would you say Mike Vrabel in terms of head coach experience? I know he's a defensive guy, but still.
No, I want a young 2024 offense play caller. I'm not into these defensive guys anymore, dude. You can win in this league with a coach and a quarterback and an average defense. You don't need to have this. You don't need to have the Baltimore Ravens defense of 2000. You can win with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and a bunch of nobodies on defense.
You gotta check this out.
You know what I mean? Like the Jets got to get away from the Jets. Got to get away from this, like known as a defensive team. Like for once, you got to have a first-time coach. You have to get Ben Johnson. Who's that other guy?
Slowick? Bobby Slowick from
whatever.
The Texans. And there's also another long time. He's a long-time offensive coordinator. He's doing it for the Ravens right now, but he's also had success elsewhere, Georgia and Tampa Bay. Todd Monken.
Yep. You know who I want as head coach?
Last year, though.
You guys are gonna laugh who I want. You guys are gonna laugh who I want.
Hey, check it out. You see this, Joe?
Who is that?
It's Aaron Rodgers' face on JD Vance.
Oh.
You see how it says completely blindsided? Yeah, okay.
The next head coach of the New York Jets is going to be Josh McCown.
Oh, Jesus.
Why not? Why not at this point? Well, that's the thing. Like that. That's why this firing and whatever. This is part of it. This is it. That's why I don't see Rodgers coming back next year. The window is right now. It's right now. If this does not work out, there's no AFC Championship game. There's no Super Bowl. Those are the only two. Those are the only two that Rodgers is going to come back.
Am I allowed to curse on here still or no?
We try not to because
Okay. What the F is Devontae going to change from the atrocity that you've seen?
I have an answer for that. It's not going to be like night and day, but you know what he does that Alan Lazard doesn't do? He catches the ball. That's all you need, somebody to just catch the ball.
Right. Targets away from Lazard.
Right, but Aaron Rodgers has 1 second before his old ass is knocked on the ground again. Tyron Smith is a fucking turnstile. He's a turnstile. And Olu Fashanu, I can't really put it on him because the fucking Jets are putting a rookie left tackle out of position at right tackle.
I'm surprised he's not playing running back.
Sorry, I cursed.
No, but like really, right? Like the Jets always do that. They always play these players out of position.
Just get a nice young guy. Get a young coordinator that's going to be a head coach. Somebody that's going to bring it up to 2024, and just start off with a coach, a quarterback coach, and guys that have like a proven record, and go trade up everything you got for a quarterback. That's it. What else are you going to do? We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep doing this shit. This every 4 years. And listen, everyone that shit on me for Derek Carr, I would take Derek Carr tomorrow.
Question is, would Derek Carr work with Hackett? He's working well with what's his name? I forget his name. Kubiak. He didn't work. He's not. I don't think he's. I don't think he would be good with Hackett. But again, if you hire Hackett, your focus was Rodgers.
Listen, Derek Carr's stat line, Luca. Derek Carr's stat
understand.
line for last year was 25, 8, and 4,000 yards. That was plenty enough for the Jets. Plenty enough.
Yeah. But if we're going to be honest here, and I've been saying this, and obviously I'm happy about the Saleh firing. They should have fired him in year 2. After year 2,
coach of the Jets, right here, baby. Bill Belichick has one. I got this guy. What do you think about this?
What, you got a dog?
You think Reddick's coming?
That's his dog.
You think? Yeah, he's a freaking Patriots fan. This guy. All right,
Matthias, there's no answer for this team, buddy. I'm out of answers. I get Matthias. He used to call into the Turbulence podcast all the time, but There's no answers. I'm out of answers. I'm just sitting back. I'm watching this team, and I just laugh now. I really do.
Joe Cat, I think you would agree with this phrase. My best friend's uncle is a Jet fan, longtime Jet fan. He's seen the Jets win Super Bowl fucking 3. He's like, if you put his old saying, and I reference this always when the Jets suck, you could put Jesus on the Jets and they'd still suck.
Yeah. You could put Jesus, Muhammad, Walter Payton, Randy Moss. You could put together the 53 Jesuses, and nothing will work out. So, I don't know. You got to get behind Ulbrich and see what the hell he's going to do. Maybe he'll fire up the team. Maybe fucking Quinnen's fat ass can – I cursed again, sorry. Maybe Quinnen's fat ass can get it together. I don't know. The $25 million a year man is completely invisible. Gone. I don't know what happened to him. Gone. I think he just looks like one of them. What's that?
He's getting double teamed a lot. That's what I keep seeing.
So is Leonard Taylor, the undrafted free agent who just runs right through the double.
So is Dexter Lawrence on the other side, but he got paid and he's still getting numbers.
Aaron Donald got double teamed every year, and after Aaron Donald got paid, he went through more double teams and was still Aaron Donald. You know? But it's gonna be fine. I'll be at the game Monday. I'll probably leave by halftime.
Joe, what would make you a believer? If we go on a 4-game win streak, would you start changing your tune and say, all right, you know what? Maybe 5-game winning streak.
No.
What about winning the East? Winning the East?
No.
Not even winning the East?
No. Not even no. Like, even if the Jets were playing in the Super Bowl, like an atomic bomb from World War III would go off right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some weird stuff would happen like that. But, like, fucking all of a sudden the Ukraine is invading the United States the day of the Super Bowl. Like, but no, I'll be a believer, like, when they get over 9 wins and they don't need 17 teams to lose to get into the playoffs.
I couldn't agree more.
I understand that mindset.
Yeah, it's great. I got suckered into buying the salute to service hat.
This ain't this.
Yeah, I got suckered. I'm just like, you know what it is? Like, I walked into Dick's the other day and I come back and my wife's like, did you buy a hat? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, why are you doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. The hat looked cool, and I'm just trying to buy up anything with that logo right now because it might not stay, you know?
Joe, we try, man. We try to escape, all of us. We can't. We're like caged.
Nah, the Jaguars have sucked since I started watching them, so I think it's just really me.
That's all of us. It's all of us.
I was really just about to ask you if you're going to go to that Jacksonville Jets game in December.
Yeah, I'm going.
It's in Jacksonville?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yo,
and
dude,
and Jaguars are wearing the 95 jerseys that game. So
those are great. They wore it this past Sunday.
Yeah, that's why they won.
Beautiful jerseys.
The classics. You just need them. Like, all these teams need to just go back to what they had.
Dude,
like,
Denver. Oh my God.
I know.
Awesome.
I know. And Surtain's amazing. Surtain's amazing.
That's a true number one, man.
Like, dude. Like, Sauce doesn't do that. Like,
when's the last time he did an interception against?
It was against Buffalo in the Jets.
Two interceptions, dude. Like, he's got 2 interceptions. Like, and people are giving him a gold jacket. Like, what is that? I don't understand. Like, all right, I get he's got 2 All-Pros, but like, he's not even close to Darrelle Revis. I don't know what
that Revis comparison's like out the window.
Yeah, dude. Like, what'd you say, Bobby?
He's not a pimple on Revis's ass.
No,
I agree with that.
And like, these players need to get off Twitter. Like, you should not be.
Understand.
You should not be answering Joe Cat on Twitter. Like, I really love to just like, I love to troll. Everyone knows that, but like, I'm really on like a Jay Gray Jets like kick right now. So, you know, like the whole him asking Revis to come over in his man cave. So, I love trolling that guy. But like, if you're a player, you shouldn't be answering me at 8 o'clock at night, 4 hours after the game. Like,
shouldn't be worried about that.
Right.
Michael
like,
Carter,
and that's where like the coach comes in. Like, look at Brian Dable, dude. Brian Dable has half, maybe a quarter of the roster of talent, and he's got these guys going into Seattle and winning.
Did you see what happened on Sunday with Brian Dable? Because I think it was Wandale Robinson was doing an Instagram live and his teammates were celebrating. Brian Dable comes in, don't post that SHIT.
Yeah, that's a coach, dude. Like, and he's working with a quarter of the talent that this team has. This team has so
if that
much
was
talent.
Saleh, yeah,
Right.
if that was Saleh, he'd be like, oh yeah, it'd be posted all over the place.
Oh, please. I'm so good. Like, at least he at least shows some emotion. Like, he never showed any emotion, nothing. Like, it was so bad that I would have Adam Gase back.
With those
He
eyes.
looked like he'd rather be somewhere else when he was on that sideline. And I noticed that specifically against that Patriots game, but it's so hard to blast on after a win. So I'm like, I didn't really. Dan, I think I actually texted you that during the game. I'm like, he looks like he doesn't want to be there. And the team's doing great. Like, now is your time to be like the stupid little cheerleader. Not that I ever condoned him, but if you were going to be, that was the game to do it.
Right. And you know what? Kudos to Woody, man. No, everyone shits on Woody. I cursed again. Sorry. But Woody, everyone says Woody's cheap. Woody spends the money, dude. And it might not be the best spent money, but he does it. And this is big balls for him, man. He's never done this before. So for him to turn around and just make this call, apparently I'm reading that Joe Douglas didn't even know about it.
That's true.
Great.
That's what I read.
Right. So you can, and you got to also take what these beat reporters online take for granted, right? You got to see who, Connor Hughes is in his feelings right now, right?
Yeah, it sounds like he's doing Salah's PR right now.
Right, because that was his source.
Exactly.
You can tell exactly which beat writer works for who. Is that a Joe Douglas guy? Is that a Saleh guy? And
they golf together. They golf together.
Right. That's a point brought up by the Red Eye guys on Twitter. You can tell exactly when you're scrolling who's which PR guy or which guy fields questions, everything like that. So, and I like that Woody's mad. I like that he's actually showing that he wants to win.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to work, but at least it's. I mean,
now, what do you give up for Devontae? What do you give up?
Nothing. I don't want him.
You don't want him.
No, what the fuck? Sorry. What is he gonna do here, man? The quarterback's washed, dude. Nobody wants to say it. We lost that game because of Aaron Rodgers' shit quarterback play. That's the real answer, dude.
When would you put Tyrod Taylor then?
I put Tyrod in Taylor after the second interception the other game. He's it's Aaron Rodgers. And people are afraid to call it out because he's the guy. He played like shit. He played like a 40-year-old broken man. It is what it is. I'm watching the game the same as you guys are. And he looks like if my dad was to wear a helmet and shoulder pads and get his balls kicked in on a Thanksgiving Day pickup game.
Right.
I'm sorry, he's washed, dude. He's washed. And the arm strength is still there. Great. The offensive line, it looks like he's playing. To me, the Jets offense looks like every audible goes to Garrett. It's predictable. And every, Breece runs into the line 1 yard. Breece Hall's not the Barry Sanders we hyped him up to be. He's not. Put in Braylon Allen and realize that guy might not be that good. Put the rookie in. I don't know. It looks like to me that Aaron Rodgers is lining up on offense with just a center and him because that's how fast the pressure is getting into him. The offensive line stinks, dude. And it was bullet holes. It was Band-Aids over bullet holes. Morgan Moses is brittle as shit. He was gone in the Patriot game. Tyron Smith is now you know why nobody else offered him a contract.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I don't mean to be Debbie Downer, but Aaron Rodgers kind of sucks, dude.
As of right now,
not Aaron Rodgers.
Joe, I think as of right now, at 2-3, it does seem that way. I think because you look at all the other 40-year-olds that won the Super Bowls and Peyton and Brady, they didn't start great. They didn't start 7-0. I mean, Brady started at 5-5. Manning started at 2-3. Yeah. I think once you have that rhythm going, again, the offensive line, they're going to be all on notice right now. Even the O-line coach as well. Keith Carter, Kevin Carter, whatever the guy's name is. That's why I think Woody Johnson's move right here kind of it's a shockwave to
It
everyone.
sets a precedent.
Even to Rodgers. I'm telling you, even to Rodgers. Even though Woody Johnson, let's be real, right? He's the owner of the team.
Right.
Rodgers is not.
Right.
Like he gave him 3 years. He gave him last year. It wasn't his fault. He got injured. But if you keep throwing these 3 interceptions a game, he might get benched. He might get benched.
The only problem with firing Saleh is that you left the other 4 assholes that can't coach worth the shit either. Keith Carter's horrible. Todd Downing, he might as well, was he going to do play calling from AA? I don't know. Right? Like Todd Downing sucks too. Ulbrich, you got to see what he's going to be. Right now, you're going to really see if it's the defense, if it was Saleh with the defense or him. Hackett's terrible. So literally the whole coaching staff is abysmal. The only thing you have right now is hope this guy is a good head coach. That's it. Because the other guys, Todd Downing, you're going to have him take over the play calling?
You can't.
And Aaron Rodgers' audibles are terrible, dude. Like, everything he's audibling to, he doesn't have enough time.
But that's why
they keep getting so many delay of game penalties. They don't have any time.
But they're out of sync. That's what I think that's what Woody saw as well. Like, damn, they're out of sync. And a huge wild card right now, it's Saleh. He's keeping this team back. If I can get rid of him right now, and maybe we could string up at least a 3-game winning streak, we'll be at 5-3.
Yeah.
I still think, you know what, it's still very early. This was a positive move today.
Yeah. Definitely positive.
See.
It's just the great unknown. You're going into the great unknown.
100%.
And you know what? You're already this far in. Like at this point, you're desperate. The team's grasping at straws. As much as they want to make it look like they're in control and Woody's in control, they're spiraling out of control, dude. They're like, all right, you're going to be the head coach. Let's fire this guy. All right, well, if the team still stinks, maybe it's not the head coach. Maybe it's the 40-year-old washed quarterback. Like, he's still got a great arm. Vinny Testaverde probably still has a great arm too. But
I'm just curious. This goes for Luca as well. Because someone posed this morning on the space, they said, if this was the plan all along, why didn't they fire Saleh in the offseason? Why do they have to wait for now?
Because they're dumb. Because
I said they should have fired Saleh 2 years ago after that whole 6-game collapse, and then you would have a new head coach and effectively a new quarterback.
Not even that, Luca. Why would you have Zach Wilson as Aaron Rodgers' backup?
Exactly.
Like,
that was a whole nother blunder.
Because they're the Jets. That's what it is. But all these questions that we're asking ourselves is one answer. Is because they're the Jets. No other team operates like a circus like this. Every year is a circus. The offseason, circus. The season, circus. You guys can't just play football. Like, you can't figure it out. Like, that color paint is where we have to go. I'm just some idiot that watches football. But, like, you can't figure out how to get 1 yard. You can't get 1 yard. Like, that's an embarrassment, dude. Like, the fact that you can't convert a first down for a whole half against Sam Darnold and the Vikings with Aaron Rodgers is weird to me.
This was Saleh this morning.
He's getting locked out. Yeah, you had that all queued up.
My phone actually. So.
Well, listen, it's gonna be fun.
It is.
It's gonna be fun. All you could do is pop a cocktail. It's either gonna be really ugly, or this is gonna spark the team. That's all you can really do. It's either Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is gonna play better, dude. Like, is what it is, because you don't get Aaron Rodgers to play like this, and maybe his body's just not holding up, dude. Like, that guy's taking a beating. Like, he looks like, Dan, don't tell me if I'm lying. Does he look like Boomer Esiason or what on the Jets?
Busted Esiason.
He looks exactly like Boomer did, running for his life. And listen, realistically, they're not going to figure this out. This is going to crash and burn. But we have to have a little hope that it's not. See, you like that little positivity?
I like it.
You like this? This is a one-way ticket to Fucktown, boys. That's it.
Joe, you got to come on more often, man.
I love you.
Be safe, brother, man. All right.
Later.
Later, Joe.
Later.
All right, cool, man. I mean, I got to walk myself away from the ledge now and come back into the window and just look back in the mirror and say, it's all going to be okay. It's going to be all right. I think so. I think this is a great move today.
It's a start.
It's a start. And now it became a must win because, again, the wheels can just come off this thing really quickly. Win on Monday. This is the spark right here. Woody has never done this. He did it. He shocked everybody. Tomorrow, trade for Devontae. Don't waste time. Trade for him. Win on Monday night. Win. Win, dude. Just win. That'll be great.
That's it. Just win. Find a way to win. I don't care if it's the ugliest win in the world. They have to find a way. It's as simple as that.
Good teams find ways to win. Bad teams find ways to lose.
Absolutely. Guys, with that being said, let me see. Going to the last comment here. He's you gotta love Joe, man. We gotta love him. Listen, man, we're gonna be back on Thursday night. Liam, I'm gonna find you a co-host because I can't be here. I'm gonna, taking the family out.
Yeah.
So, Luke, are you available?
Thursday night. Thursday, unfortunately, I'm working. How late? When are you guys doing the show?
We come on at 9 p.m.
Oh, that's after I work. Then I'll be fine.
Bam, Liam. There you go, man.
Look at us, man. On the fly.
On the fly. Everybody watching right now, thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. And again, before we go, please, Florida, stay safe.
Absolutely.
Again, this puts everything into perspective. Please be safe. Our prayers go out to you. And again, like we said yesterday, I know we're not like really well known and whatnot, but if you guys need anything, food or whatever the case is, let us know. Well, we'll do everything we can to help and support. Okay. Again, stay safe, Florida, and go Jets.
Absolutely.
All right.
Quarterback, Ken O'Brien of California Davis.
Just 14 that first time, now going long. They got a wide open man, and he makes the catch. It's Braylon Edwards taking off. Braylon Edwards will take it home for the touchdown. 80.
First down in San Diego territory at the 47-yard line. Big draw. And Pennington going for 6. Deep down the field.